Seventh race weekend of the IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Cup. We are here in Samoritz, the home of ice sliding. The Olympia Bobrun, built fresh every year from scratch, from snow and ice, handmade, handcrafted, the longest, the fastest, and certainly the most glamorous of them all. And getting ready for race 7 of 8 of the Men's Skeleton World Cup. Athletes warming up just for a change, not in a slushy parking lot, but actually in a covered garage just above the start of the track. Hello everybody, welcome to Samoritz and our coverage of the penultimate World Cup race of the season for men's skeleton. We're getting ready to start 40 sleds in our first heat under the shadow of the legendary Dracula Club right at the start of this track. The fastest 25 will go through into the second heat, and as always here in Samoritz, an early start draw not necessarily an advantage, a late start draw not necessarily a major disadvantage. Two newcomers in the field, Eduardo Strapazon of Brazil and Josip Brusic of Canada. But first up, Yin Cheng of China. 40th World Cup start for Yin Cheng. One of only 5 men to grab a medal this season. 4:87, a new start record for the track because it's built afresh every year. Every championship, every series that comes here sets new records every year because the track is subtly different. As the first 2 kinks into the first corner with a name, that is Wall. And then through Snake 1 and Snake 2 down to Sunny Corner. All of these tracks, corners have gained their names over the last 100 years. Nash and Dixon, named after 1964 Olympic gold medalists from the Samoritz Bob Club. Out of Horseshoe into Telephone, Shamrock, and then the left at Devil's Dyke. Through Nameless, which has got a name, into the 4 fast corners at the bottom. Tree, Bridge, Leap, and then the Gunter Sachs curve. Heading down the straight into Martineau and across the Cresta Run into Portago. Across the line, new track record as one, 1:08.18. So start record and track record always for the first starter. Even if you crash and come across the line, you still set a new track record. What happens in training stays in training and doesn't affect the official records. So Yin Cheng, 3 gold medals last season on the bounce. This year his best result was in Beijing, where he finished in the bronze medal position. 3 men have taken all the wins this season, 4 for Christopher Grotheer and 1 each for Matt Wyatt and Marcus Weston. Next up, Vladislav Heraskevich turns 25 on Sunday. So I don't know if he's going to spend it here. I mean, it's a nice place to be on your birthday. 61st World Cup start for Vlad, 8th in the Youth Olympic Games in 2016. And his teammate, a 2024 Youth Olympian as well. 6 World Cups here and the World Championships as well on this track. Started 5:12, not as fast as Yin Cheng. Yin seems to have got his starting mojo back again, but now starting to shrink the gap to the Chinese slider as he comes out of Sunny. This is where you start to build up speed through Nash and Dixon. Good height in Horseshoe, nice exit through Telephone and Shamrock. Telephone named because that's where there was a field telephone, an old military field telephone in the days before cameras. If you crashed out of Horseshoe, you'd phone and say, I've crashed out of Horseshoe, send an ambulance. Out of Sachs, 3800s back. Best speed, but not enough, surely, to catch Yin Cheng. Heraskevich is going to be just behind him, 2800s back, 1:08.46. Well, he started 2500s back, ended up 2800s back. Yin had better starting speed, covered the ice faster early on, Had better velocity, probably all the way down to sunny at least. So it's a good drive from Vladislav Heraskevich.
10 seconds.
Top 4 finish, last time out, nearly in the medals in Winterberg. Next up, Rasmus Johansson. He had a top 4 finish as well this season. That was in the season opener. Just for a moment, it looked like he might get a medal in the first race in Pyeongchang, but the Dane ended up with 4th. Finished 15th place in last year's World Cup race here, just 2 spots ahead of Vladislav Heraskevich and 10 behind Yin Cheng. 4.90, good getaway, only 300 slower than the current leader. Don't forget 2 heats, so you have to be perfect in both to have a chance of a run at a medal. 300s behind, he's holding pace with Yin Cheng. Sister Nana was in the women's race earlier today, didn't make the second heat, unfortunately, in her first ever appearance in Samoritz. Both of them coached by the Germans. Oh, in the woodwork. Big height in horseshoe, straight up into the woodwork. You heard the hit. He's gone from 400s up to 400s back, but that massive impact is going to take a lot of speed out of the sled. He'll probably be about 4/10 back at the line. .135.3 at the bottom, 84 miles an hour. And across the line, 5400s back, 108.72. What a shame. Just couldn't control the line into horseshoe. I think he came over way to the sliders left. And whatever the Danish is for Godverdomme, that's what it was. Look at that, hard into the wood. That's straight up there. Painful and disappointing for Rasmus Johansson. Now, will he make the second heat? Felix Keisinger should. The German 4th off in our field of 40, so only 36 more to go. 40th World Cup start as well for Keisi. Silver in the World Cup here back in 2020, his first time here. 4.86 start record, so outstarting Yin Cheng. Keisi 12th in the World Championships, 10th in last year's World Cup. Still his best result in the World Cup overall. 2 silver medals, one of which was here, and the other on his home track in Königsegg, Bavaria. 1100s up, gradually building his advantage, but only the 3rd best speed. Vladislav Heraskevich fastest through the forest here. 600s, the gap is shrinking over Yin Cheng. Not as quick as Yin, not as quick as Heraskevich. Good exit out of Sachs Curve though. 136.4 should be enough to keep him in the lead. It's not going to be by much. Needs a track record, doesn't get one. 108.20. So Yin Cheng leads by 200s from Felix Keisinger. But Keisi with an 86 start, 4.86. It's the first thing he'll be told. Nice line in horseshoe, not slamming up into the woods like we saw from Rasmus Johansson. Keisi controlling the speed, just a little hard onto Devil's Dyke. All those little bumps take speed out of the sled. Now a World Cup points leader, winner last time out, Matt Weston. His first win of the season, but he's had a medal every one of the 6 starts. 4.79, new start record. Nice and smooth so far. Now, top 5 just as well. This isn't the first race of the day. 5th place start draw would not be very beneficial on the frosty cold ice of the early morning. But now midday, Much smoother running track, much faster. From 800s over Yin Cheng to 3800s, down to Horseshoe. Nice line, nice exit. Building speed into the forest. 64.2 miles an hour. 5800s up. This is like his second run in Winterberg. Absolutely stunning stuff from Matt Weston. 115 is 72 miles an hour. 138, 85.8 miles an hour. Head first on ice. And across the line, a crushing track record. 107.39. Matt Weston, the 2023 world champion on this track, in great form. He knows it. Martins Ducours knows it. That's a heck of a run from Matt Weston. Big start, fastest in the competition. 800s quicker than Yin Cheng and 8/10ths quicker at the bottom. That's not start, that's not drive, that's not kit, that's the whole package. There's his mum and dad at the top.
To be back here, I love it.
Mate, we all love it. If you don't love coming to St. Moritz, you do need to have a word with yourself. Now then, our next athlete being sent back in, Chen Wen-hao. 2 minutes. Daniel Schlatter there, the jury president in the black jacket. Now, is the athlete asking for something there?
30 seconds.
Ursula Hildebrand in the green and yellow jacket. Wife of Hans Hildebrand, legendary Swiss bobsledder, world champion and equally legendary bobsled builder, Hans Hildebrand. Now retired from all of that. Ursula, though, working on the track. She's the start coordinator for the athletes. So Matt Weston is our leader. From Yin Cheng and Felix Keisinger. Chen Wen-hao next up. 26 World Cup start for him. Best result, 11th place here last year is his best result in St. Moritz. In the World Cup at least. Finished 9th in the World Championships 2023. 484. Outstarts his own teammate. If he'd been up before Matt Weston in the start order, he would have had a start record with that. But doesn't. And the women's race, we saw that the Chinese athletes were struggling a little bit for speed below Horseshoe, although they were pretty close among the front runners early on in the run. This is such a long track. Everywhere else this season, anybody doing over a minute was way out in the 20s. Not the race leader, never mind a minute and 7 seconds. 5th best speed from the 2nd best start, creeping up towards 3rd place Felix Keisinger. Decent run down the straight out of Sachs into Martineau. Little touch coming through into Portago. Across the line, 4th place, nearly a second back. Well, Matt Weston has put in one of those Martins Ducours style runs, Francesco Friedrich style runs, where everybody else looks very lackluster just because he's absolutely knocked it out of the park. So Chen is 1400s behind Felix Keisinger. It's a long skid down into kink 1 though. Suboptimal, skidding away the speed. Now then, the World Cup leader heading into Winterberg, Marcus Wyatt. Wyatt, the winner in Sigulda. A silver and two silvers and a bronze as well this season. 4:78, even quicker start. Wow, Marcus Wyatt. You do get a little trophy here for the fastest start of the competition. Usually a little kind of wooden knick-knacky thing. Prices here are very traditional. Bit of cheese, little bit of salami, that kind of thing. Very nice. 1500s back though. He's not having the run that Matt Weston did, is he? However, is this going to be enough to put him firmly among the medals again? Nice height, right up by the woodwork, got a good exit there. You can see one of the British coaches filming on the exit, smoothly onto Devil's Dyke. That's such a key part of building speed in the forest. Fourth best speed. Yin Cheng currently in second, 79 hundredths back. This will be a second place run for Marcus Wyatt, but the sled is moving around at the back, really just sort of skidding him all the way down at the line. 62 hundredths back, 108.01. So Matt Weston leads, Marcus Wyatt in second place, Yin Cheng in third. 7 of our 40 sleds down here in St. Moritz. Yeah, through Nash and Dixon, not the tidiest out of Dixon. Again, having to just shift his weight a little to control the sled. Try again in the second heat. Well, that's what you have. Christopher Grotheer, what a season the 3-time world champion and Olympic champion has been having. 4 straight wins before Christmas New Year. Didn't race in Sigulda with a calf injury. Came back with a bronze medal in Winterberg last week. And 497, he's still starting strong, maybe not quite as strong as he might like, but that rehab, he'll want to make sure that he's in as close to perfect condition as possible for the World Championships in Lake Placid at the end of next month. 1500s back at the start, he's stopped the bleeding. 2700s to 2700s at Sunny. What's the gap now? 2500s, here we go. Grotheer, second fastest, starting to motor through the forest. Quarter second back. Still second fastest. Gap remains pretty static at a quarter of a second. And don't forget, Matt Weston, fastest through every speed trap all the way down. Great exit from Gunter Sachs. 138.9, 86.3 miles an hour for Grotheer. And across the line, only 1600s back. Race is on. The race is on. 1600s in it after the first of the 2 heats. Rehabbing that calf tear or not, it's not affecting his driving. Look at that. Late height, nice high apex, holds it, then dives off. Great exit out of Horseshoe, really building that slingshot effect. Such a pro. Next up, Axel Junk of Germany. So Christopher Grotheer in second, Felix Keisinger in fifth after 8 sleds. Let's see where Axel falls into the mix. 9th here last year. He's had 8 World Cup outings on this track. Best of which a silver medal back in 2018. Well, Janine Flock, who won the women's race, won her last of her previous 3 gold medals in 2018. But she didn't have to take a big steer off Kink 1 like Axel did. So 489, a 10th away at the start. It's going to be 3 tenths by Sunny. Had to do a lot of steering, that scrubs off a lot of speed. Well, he's limited the damage, only 2500s back. Nice looking run, down to Horseshoe, good height. Good exit as well. Oh, late flop off telephone though. Oh, and a hit onto Devil's Dyke, and that hurt. Heard that across the mountain. Only 8th best speed. Behind Marcus Wyatt, and trying to stay ahead of Yin Cheng and Felix Keisinger. 5th best speed at the bottom, should be 4th at the line, and so he is by 900s. Well, Jung 9th last year, 4th at the moment. That should be a top 10 run.
Start in 10 Sekunden.
6th best at the start, 4th at the bottom. Hard onto telephone, late off, Shamrock, bonk onto Devil's Dyke.
Doing better in the second run.
They come at you so fast, these corners. Sammy Meyer. Now, talk about somebody who's having a good season, the 25-year-old Austrian, really building after the Pyeongchang Games. Nice little piece with him from our social media team on the IBSF YouTube site. See him talking about changing of strength and conditioning coaches, sports psychologists being brought in, new coaching with Mickey Grunberg in the last couple of years, working on the sled together. And he's had a really strong season. Bronze and silver in the last 2 races. 12th in Beijing, he's only finished outside the top 10. 8th at the start, driving his way into the top 5 at the moment. 5th best speed. Half a second back, so he'll be ahead of Yin Cheng. Will he be ahead of Axel Jung? Looks like he should be. Good speed at the bottom, across the line, 4th place. 300s ahead of Axel. Well, off the 8th fastest start in 10 athletes, he's come down 4th fastest of the 10. And the only one in front of him who started a fraction slower, Christopher Grotheer, in 2nd place. $500s out of the medals at the moment for Sammy Meyer. Like everybody else, work to do. Start draw number 11 for Chinese rookie Lin Chin-wei in his 7th World Cup race. Team gold medalist in Altenburg. Has not raced here before. His 2 best results in the World Cup start record, goodness me. First start record I think we've seen him take. 2 5th places, 1 in Beijing, 1 in Winterberg last week. The one in Beijing, you sort of think, okay, well, he's got plenty of knowledge of that track. Good effort in Winterberg to be in the top 5. And it was last weekend, in fact, that he was in the team gold medal winning position in the snowy teams racing Winterberg. 1700s back, challenging Christopher Grotheer for 2nd place. This is a huge run from Lin Chen-wei. It's pretty wild and loose, and the speed is going away in the forest. 2900s back. Marcus Wyatt, 6200s back. He's going to drop behind him, probably behind Sammy Meyer as well before he gets to the line. 8th place at the line, but what a great start to the run. With so little knowledge of the track, that's a very impressive run from Lin Chen-wei. Well, I'm sure that he'll be looking forward to going in the teams race again. Start record.
10 seconds.
And the top half was excellent. Little skidding away here of that speed. So unlike any other track here. So hard to correct that slide. Matt Weston, the leader. For Italy, Mattia Gaspari finished in 6th place here last year. That remains his World Cup best result. 58th World Cup start for the man from Cortina d'Ampezzo, and a 5:01 getaway. 2200s behind at the start, 4300s back. The Italians continue to struggle with their equipment. Just never looks entirely comfortable. 8th and 7th in the last 2 races. So really starting to bring his season together. 4th best speed, so he's not improved on his 11th place start at the moment, but now he is 3rd best speed, and this is the knowledge of this track. 7 previous World Cup outings here and the World Championships as well. 7th in the Worlds in 2023 here. And across the line in 5th place. Well, he's ahead of Axel Jung, he's ahead of Yin Cheng and Felix Keisinger and Lin Chenwei and Chen Wen Hao. So he's ahead of good sliders, new sliders, experienced sliders, but that's the knowledge of the track coming out, where you know intimately where it's going and you're just making subtle adjustments as the track is subtly different every year.
It's okay, we see the second.
Well, if he's in the top 5 at the end of the first heat, he'll be a very happy bunny. Chu Hai-feng, like Yin Chenwei, a rookie this season, bronze medalist in the team competition last week in Winterberg. 7th World Cup start, has not raced here before either. And here's World Cup best, also on home ice in Beijing. That was a 6th place finish. Chu with the 7th fastest start. Of all the tracks, the start here is probably less important than anywhere else because the track is so long and requires such subtlety. Half a second back. Oh, hit onto Devil's Dyke. And because it's subtle and because it requires almost minimal input, the precision of those inputs is so key. 7th at the start, 11th best speed. Martino and Portago comes in the wrong side of Portago. Not quite the victory roll off the end. Have seen those before. 108.52. 11th, 12th, in fact, in the end at the line. We'll occasionally see a skeleton athlete rolling off the final corner. Very occasionally a bobsled as well. Again, looks like he's just fighting the sled's propensity to get sideways on him. And sideways, like with ice skates, like with skis, not fast. What happens when you throw a mountain bike sideways? It slows down, same deal. Welcome back, by the way, to Flo Hour. Florian Hour back in the World Cup. Last World Cup was Altenburg, February 2024. 6 World Cups and 1 World Championships here since he made his St. debut in 2017. And a 5:07 getaway. Another of the sons of sliding legend Christian Auer. Older brother Alex retired before the end of 2022. Now coaching the German team. And Florian Auer, 13th at the start. 13th place on the splits at the moment. He's got good, smooth gliding form, nice lines. Look at this, 6th best speed. This should drag him up the order, 5th best speed. Knows where he's going here in St. Moritz. Good exit out of Gunter Sachs, down towards Martino. Little tap-tap between Martino and Portago. Across the line, 13th, 108.6. Well, best race for him here, 9th place finish in January 2019. And his World Cup best, a 7th place in Whistler. So flying our 13th of our 14 sliders, and just getting thrown around on the exit of Martineau. Next up, another rookie this season, Lukas Nydegger of Germany. Under-20 junior world champion here in 2021. His only race on this track. So, one race, one world championship gold. 4.96 getaway. Best results for Lukas. Actually, ironically, for a German, not on a German track this season. He had 13th in... I beg your pardon, it was in Altenburg. He had 5th in Altenburg, 13th in Sigulda, 13th in Winterberg. So 5th in Altenburg, his best result. Now 12th at the start, and already driving himself into 8th place on the splits. 7th at Horseshoe, not a high line, but it was nicely controlled. Good exit out of Shamrock, nicely onto Devil's Dyke. That'll help him build his speed again. Nice tidy lines. Good speed. Up to top 4. Could he challenge Marcus Wyatt for 3rd place? He can do. How close is he going to be to the top 2? 4900s back. 3300s out of silver. Lukas Nydegger, the rookie, in the lead. Beg your pardon, in the top 3. Excellent run for Lukas Nydegger. So 12th best start, drove himself into 3rd. Just that little toe steer to get the line he wanted for telephone. Matt Weston, Christopher Grotheer, Lukas Nydegger, and now we get to Dan Barefoot of the USA. Finished 16th on his Samoritz debut last year. And that, I beg your pardon, that was his World Cup debut here. He was in the World Championships in 23, finished 26th. And Samoritz remains his best result in the World Cup. 16th place. So started 12th fastest. Just 100th faster than Lukas Nydegger. Long skid though, out of Snake down to Nash and out of Sunny down to Nash and Dixon. Working hard in Horseshoe as well. Speed's not going to be there. Little tap coming on to Devil's Dyke. Just a whisker out on the timing, Dan Barefoot. 13th best speed. How close is he going to get? Well, slipping away on the split times. Not bad, Martineau to Portago, but across the line, 108.73. 16th starter, 16th at the finish. So just 2 race weekends on this track, and still building experience all the time.
Start in 20 seconds.
Again, out of Sunny, into Nash and Dixon, just getting a little nudge away. And here, getting tapped on to Devil's Dyke as well after a late flop out of Shamrock. He was watching. Now for Korea, Kim Ji-soo, the 30-year-old in his 48th World Cup start. 4 of those have been here. 2 8th place finishes. He was 8th in the World Championships as well. So 8th is his PB here. And if he can manage that in the first heat, he'll be doing very well. 4.77 getaway.
second fastest push time.
Slightly lower start draw, not a handicap here in St. Moritz. 200s away from the leader, Matt Weston, having outstarted him by a couple. This will be a good time for Kim Ji-soo to return to form. 7th and 5th in Pyeongchang, 13th then in Beijing, 14th last week in Winterberg, but in between 24th in Altenburg and 20th in Sigulda. It all sort of went away from him in a hurry when they got to Europe. 11th best speed, it's a top 5 run at the moment. Might be top 6 ahead of Mattia Gaspari. Might not. It's very tightly bunched from 4th Marcus Wyatt on down. He's 100th behind Wyatt, 300ths behind Wyatt. So good run for Kim Ji-soo. Fifth place at the line. Nice height in horseshoe. You saw him steering with the head just to stop the sled coming too high up. Now he rotates it with that dragging left toe. Like sticking a paddle in when you're canoeing or kayaking. Kim Ji-soo, top 5 run. Now what about Switzerland's Vincenz Buff? Finished 24th in his first top flight race here. That was the World Championships 23. Finished 18th in the World Cup last year. A 23-year-old in only his 14th World Cup start. Just don't ask him what all the corners are called. 5:17. World Cup best was in the season opener, Pyeongchang. He finished 11th place. 18th at the start. Still in 18th place at Sunny and nearly a second back. His teammate Sarah Schmidt came very late in the women's field, did not make the cut, didn't get a second heat. And that might be a possibility here as well for Vincenz Buff. There are a lot of good sliders in the field. Being at the tail after 18 sleds, 7th best speed at the bottom. Is it enough to move up even one? It is not. 2100s behind Dan Barefoot of the USA. That's a yawning gap into which a lot of sleds could go. Not the sort of run that he had last year. Is that enough to get him in to a second heat? 108.94. We'll have to wait and see.
10 seconds.
Vincenz Buff, still young, developing his speed and his knowledge. Next up, Amedeo Bagnis, our race winner last year. World Championship silver medalist 23, World Cup gold medalist 24. This is without question and by a very large margin his best track. 4:83 getaway. 5th fastest at the start. And nicely controlled all the way down here, just 900s back. And this is really going to be a bit of an acid test of how the Italians are handling their equipment. If he is miles away here, a track where he's taken a silver and a gold in the last 2 years, then there's got to be some head scratching. 2nd best speed from Amedeo Bagnis. The other side of that coin is, even if he's in the top 3, is it despite the sleds and their setup or because of? He's been on the same kit for the last couple of years. 2nd place, Fifth best speed at the bottom though. Should still be second, is in second place. 100th ahead of Christopher Grotheer. This is a different sport here to anywhere else. The track is so different, it's so much longer, it's so much more subtle. It should have a different name. It should still be called Cresta or something, just because it's so different. And for Amedeo Bagnis, oh boy, this is his happy place, isn't it? And after a season like he's had, getting a result in St. Moritz will be really important. Heard lots of shouting in the top for this man, Austin Florian of the USA. 49th World Cup start. 20th place here last year, but he has been a top 10 finisher before in St. Moritz. 483, same as we've just seen from Amedeo Bagnis. There's absolutely nothing wrong at all with Austin Florian starting. Very little to criticise about his driving. I think all the US athletes are starting to fall behind in the sled stakes. 1100s back, only 400s back at the start. Up to Horseshoe, good height, right up by the woodwork. Nice exit, nicely onto Shamrock, nicely onto Devil's Dyke, but only the 7th best speed. He's third on the splits. He's driving really well. Speed is evaporating. Still third on the splits. Don't think he's going to be third at the line. Fourth if he's doing well, ahead of Lucas Nydegger. Fourth at the line, 4900s back, 107.88. That is a top draw drive. Absolutely excellent work from Austin Florian. And it feels good, but like the Brits a couple of seasons ago, in fact, really before a couple of seasons ago, for 3 or 4 years, speed just ebbing away, despite the fact you can't really see big errors or even really small ones.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's do it again.
I mean, not that he's fired up or motivated in any way. Next up, Timon Drajanovski from the Czech Republic. 8th World Cup start for the 21-year-old. Junior Worlds here in 2021. Raced in the Worlds in 2023. Those are his only races on this track. 5:17 the start. Only the 4th World Cup this season. He made the cut in Sigulda, but not in Altenburg or Winterberg. 20th at the start, 20th at the moment, ahead of Vincent Booth, but now slipping behind the Swiss. So it'll be tough to get a second heat today. Getting on for half of the sliders who start this heat will not start heat 2. 25 only of 40 go through. 20th best speed. If he can claw his way ahead of Vincent Spuff, it will help, but he can't. 109.28. Well, first World Cup race here for Timon Drajanovski. I'm sure he and Anna Fernstedt will be in the in the team's race. Anna already raced in the women's race earlier on today. She had a really good couple of runs. And they've been medalists as well in the team's competition before. Matt Weston, Amedeo Bagnis, Christopher Grotheer, your top 3 with a dead heat for 4th.
We're going in. Come on.
Nick Tucker of the USA has not raced here before. This is only the 8th different track he's raced on. Second World Cup start for the 29-year-old. Starts 4.96, gives him a shot. And on his debut last week in Winterberg, finished in 14th place. He looked impressively composed in Winterberg. Nice looking lines as well. Just losing a little ground from his start. Oh, and a big hit as well out of Sonny. Tapping into Dixon. Comes out nicely for Horseshoe. Decent heights, but just kind of working on it all the way down. Looking for the line, not quite sure whether he's found it or not, having to constantly recorrect, renegotiate the corners. Top 20. If he can hang on in 20th place, that should be enough to see him into the second heat with a bit of luck and a following wind. At the line, he is in 21st, 109.02. Ahead of Timon Janovsky, but behind Vincent Spoof. Little nudge away out of Sonny. Good height in Horseshoe, but again, watch the legs moving around, and then toe steering as well. Well done to everybody who's sponsoring these athletes, big or small. Next up, Nick Timmings, where Nick Tucker in front of him was in a second World Cup race. It's a 22nd for the Aussie. Raced here in Europe Cup in 2014 and the World Cup in 2022, where he finished in the top 20, top 25, but has not raced here since then.
First, still, Matt Weston from Great Britain.
5.08, 20th best start. A little skid down into Nash and Dixon. Really needs a top 20 finish at the end of this run to stand a decent chance of a second heat. He's made the cut on every outing so far this season. Does not want this to be different. 22nd on the splits, 20th speed in the forest, but a little nudge away there into Devil's Dyke. 17th speed, he's bringing it back. Got to claw his way ahead of Nick Tucker and Vincent Spoof if he can. Oh dear, not great between Martineau and Portago across the line, 22nd. 109.28, tied to the 100th with Timon Janovsky. So they are both in 22nd place. So either both of them make the second heat or neither of them.
10 seconds.
Just taking away vital speed there at the bottom. Hello! Well, look who's sled dogging. Good to see Meg Henry down at the bottom of the track. Yaroslav Lavrenyuk. Now, we've got plenty of youth Olympians in our skeleton field. This is the Youth Olympic silver medalist, not from here in 2020, but from Pyeongchang in 2024. 5.07 getaway. 19th at the start for Yaroslav Lavrenyuk. 10th World Cup outing. None of them have been in St. Moritz. Hasn't raced here before in his career. 20th on the splits. Nice exit out of Nash and Dixon. Nicely up to Horseshoe. Nicely onto Telephone. That's going to help him build speed. Slipping away a fraction. cycling smoothly through Devil's Dyke. Nice, smooth lines. That helps you keep the speed. Oh, a little rub on the wall. 22nd at the line. Is he going to be ahead of the tie? He is ahead of the tie, and that means Nick Timmings and Timon Drahanovski are 23rd equal. He is 600s behind the USA's Nick Tucker, but 2/10 ahead of Timmings and Drahanovski. Good run from our youth Olympic silver medalist, 24.
Oh yes, c'est là.
Carl Murray for Canada. I beg your pardon. Getting myself just a little ahead of myself. This is Latvia's Davis Valdovskis. Oh, just about keeping it under control from kink 1 to kink 2. So hard if you just get a little odd steer off kink 1. Second World Cup start for the Latvian. Made his debut at home in Sigulda. And another of our 2024 Youth Olympians. He was 4th place, just off the podium in the Youth Olympic Winter Games in Pyeongchang last year. '18th at the start, still 18th on the splits, but 19th best speed, 17th best speed. If he can get clean out of the Gunter Sachs curve here, and he just about does, should be a top 20 run. Speed could be a little better. Valdovskis, 20th place, 108.92. You're going to need to be in the 108s to make the race. 20th place, Valdovskis. We have a tie for 24th, Nick Timmings and Timon Drahanovski. So all of the remaining sliders have to beat them or go home. 15 still to come. Valdovskis in 20th might well be safe.
10 seconds.
And there he is.
Carl Murray, the track is clear.
Carl Murray of Canada next. 35 years old. Made his debut in Lake Placid in 2019. First World Cup was here in 2020. And the last World Cup before he returned in Winterberg was Altenburg in December 2021. So Carl Murray's been away from the World Cup circuit for a while. It's his 14th World Cup start. Started 5:07, 20th best at the start. Top 20 run is what he needs here. His previous World Cup outing, he was in 24th place, and at that time it wasn't enough to make the heat. Then it would have been the top 20, but since the Continental Cup has been dissolved, we now take 25 of our athletes through. But in a field of 40, that is still pretty brutal. Slipping away outside of the top 20. Oh, and a long skid down into Martineau. 25th at the line, 26th position it is. Well, World Cup best for Carl Murray, 20th place in Sigulda a few seasons back. 24th place here, but he's not going to match that. 26th with still more than a dozen sleds to go. Got a couple of rookies, some fairly experienced sliders here as well. So Kyle Murray's one heat is done. What about Kwasi Frimpong of Ghana? 10th World Cup start for him. Raced here in the World Championships 23. Raced here last year in the World Cup. And came in the Intercontinental Cup as well. But again, a team of one, effectively. 5:07 getaway, same as we just saw from Kyle Murray. But Yaroslav Lavrenyuk made it into 23rd off a 5:07. Self-funded, largely. Works on his sled, as well as his driving pretty much single-handedly. Middle of the road line in Horseshoe. Clean down into the forest though. Looking to qualify for his second Winter Olympic Games in Milano-Cortina. Having competed in Pyeongchang. Hard hit on the exit of Sachs. So there will be no second heat today, I'm afraid, for Kwasi. Across the line he comes, 1:11.10. A storied life that has taken him as a refugee from Ghana to the Netherlands, where he competed as a national level sprinter for the Dutch. Was a bobsledder for the Dutch before he converted to skeleton. Moved to Salt Lake City, where he lives with his wife and daughters. And now sliding for Ghana.
Jacob Salisbury, the track is clear.
Shanti, Amaya, Erica, thank you for watching, everyone. Appreciate you. A little bit better than training.
Get better every day, Kwasi. Next up, Jacob Salisbury makes a return to the World Cup. Last year was his only race on this track. His last World Cup was Lake Placid in March. This is Jacob Salisbury's 9th World Cup start. Former swimmer. Still dealing with water, it's just a little harder than in his previous career. Wouldn't want to be diving into this, which is, well, although you do onto a sled, obviously 4:87 the getaway, 9th fastest start. '16th best into Nash and Dixon. World Cup best of 7th place in Sigulda last season. Still in the top 20, 17th best, but only the 20th best speed. Needs to be clean here, really needs to be clean here. Speed's gone away. He's got to just breathe it to the line. 22nd at the moment. Jacob Salisbury is in the race. And out goes Kyle Murray. Well, he was out anyway, but we have a tie for 25th. Nick Timmings and Timon Drahanovsky. Well, he's in the 8s. In the 8s. Ooh, Jake Salisbury. Only World Cup race was here last year, or only World Cup race here was last year, 24th place for Jacob Salisbury. Now then, 2 rookies in a row. First up for Brazil, Eduardo Strapasson. Now, if you recognise the name, yes, his father is Emilio Strapasson, who raced skeleton getting on for 20 years ago. First time here, he has only raced on 5 different tracks, and it might not surprise you to learn that 3 of those are in North America. 17 years old, Eduardo Strapasson, a 2nd generation slider, 10th place in the Youth Olympic Games in Pyeongchang. And after a brilliant medal for Nicole Silveira of Brazil in the women's race this morning, 2nd after the first heat, 100 ahead Kim Marmon, she took the bronze. I think for the first time we may see a Brazilian team in the team's competition later on. 28th best speed. He's in 29th place. No knowledge of the track before. Oh, a long skid down into Martineau. Just half a dozen training runs. And across the line, 1:11.18. There you go. Nicole Silveira with coach Richard Bromley in the leader's box, or in the coach's box. And Eduardo Strapasson makes his World Cup debut at the age of 17. Excellent stuff. Not too many second-generation sliders, and very few outside of the traditional heartlands of Switzerland, Germany and Austria. Woohoo is correct. I wonder what his school friends will make of him being in St. Moritz. Next up is our second rookie, 22-year-old Canadian Josip Brusic. He's only raced in North America. He has only had 8 official races to date. Got his Canadian citizenship last year. So 4:97. 19th fastest start. First time outside North America. And his day job is also related to sliding. He is one of the track crew at the Whistler Sliding Centre, so I'm sure probably on catch-up there'll be a lot of his fellow track workers from Whistler watching Brusic. And if you learn to slide in Whistler, I guess even the speed of St. Moritz, I guess you don't have too many worries. 1:09.99, 28th place for Josip Brusic. Well, he's not going to get a second race run, but he has made his World Cup debut. His first race outside North America is in the greatest track of them all. Welcome to the World Cup.
10 seconds.
A young slider and an even younger Canadian became a citizen in 2024, works at Whistler and sliding in St. Moritz. 30 sleds down and still 10 to go. Adrian Rodriguez, 13th World Cup start for the Spaniard, raced here in the Worlds in 2023, and in last year's World Cup he finished 22nd. This could be a threat to make the heat here. Made the cut in the second race in Pyeongchang, but has not been in the top 25 since then this season. But off the 21st start, he's in 19th place. He's giving himself a great opportunity. Little sideways down to Nash and Dixon. Good line up to the horseshoe. Nice height. Nice exit into Telephone. Smoothly onto Shamrock. Still in the top 20. And the Mirambel will be getting very excited watching this in the coach's box. Still hanging in there. Got enough speed. Nice exit out of Gunter Sachs, long skid though, down to Martineau. That's going to drag speed out of the sled. Has he got enough to make it into the race? Is he in? Oh, skin of his teeth, 1:09.08. Tied with Jaroslav Lavrenyuk, and that means that Nick Timmings and Timon Drahanovsky are out. They will not get a second heat. Well, no guarantee yet of a second heat for Adrian Rodriguez. But a decent start and a good top part to the track. Look at this, out of the Gunter Sachs curve, just starts to drift away as he's coming under the camera, getting sideways.
Vamos, gracias.
might be enough. It's not in the 8s. Vladislav Poliwak started sliding for Ukraine, now for Poland. Raced in the Intercontinental Cup and 2 Junior Worlds here, 2018 and 2021. 5:16 getaway. 7th World Cup start only for Vladislav. The last 2 in Sigulda and in Winterberg, 26th and 28th. Just missed the cut in Sigulda. 29th start, already in 30th place on the split. Raced here over the last few seasons, but little skiddy down to Horseshoe. Not building enough speed to challenge for a top 25 spot. Looking to stay ahead of Ghana's Akwasi Frimpong. Pinballing from Gunther Sachs down to Martineau, named after Hubert Martineau, first president of the Bob Club here in St. Moritz. 1:10.20, not enough to make a second heat. So, first run is the last as well for Vladislav Poliwak. Again, skidding away and hitting down into Horseshoe. Just underlining again how difficult this is and how easy the very best make it look.
Hello, everyone.
Next up for Switzerland, Livio Sommermatter. 21st place here last year, Youth Olympic bronze medalist on this track in 2020. Under 20 silver medalist in the Junior Worlds. 4:91, track announcer getting very excited. 14th best start. 14th World Cup start for Livio. Missed the cut race 2 in Pyeongchang, has been in the top 25 every other outing this season. So 5 out of 6. Wants to make this 6 out of 7, gets a tap out of Sonny into Nash and Dixon. Doesn't alter the line too much. Not great height there, lots of noise from the horseshoe bar from the Swiss fans. 13th on the splits. It's a good run from Livio Sommermatter. He was up to 11th before Sonny. Speed drifting away, and that was the lack of acceleration out of Horseshoe. Should still be very firmly in the top 20. 21st last year, 17th at the line. He is in 1:08.57. And that means tied and teetering on the edge like the coach in the Italian job. Jaroslav Lavrenyuk and Adrian Fernandez, a dead heat for 25th place. But a really nice, smooth-looking run from Livio Sommermatter. 14th at the start. Big smile, he's 17th at the bottom. Giovanni Marchetti, another of our rookies this season, the young Italian, 26, first time racing in St. Moritz. Now, does he gel with the track? Well, he gets nicely off kink 1 for a start, off the 14th best start. Nicely off kink 2 as well. That's it, just incline the head slightly. Let the sled follow the eyes. Through wall. Down into snake 1. Snake 2. Into sunny corner. Still 14th. Excellent run so far from Giovanni Marchetti. Nice run down to Horseshoe. Decent height. Oh, hits hard onto telephone though. That's going to cost him 4 or 5 places. Hits onto Devil's Dyke as well. Horseshoe is such a key corner on this track. Speed isn't brilliant. Is he going to end up in the top 20? Might be just outside at the moment, hovering around Dan barefoot, Davis Waldowskis, 21st place behind the Americans by 400ths. That's a good run for a man who's in his first race on the track. And that means he has shoved off the edge and into the abyss Adrian Rodriguez and Yaroslav Lavrenyuk. They do not get a second heat, but I think that may mean that Giovanni Marchetti has just put himself into the race. Big bump off telephone, late off Shamrock, and then a hit on the wall before Devil's Dyke. But I think he's in. Next up, Jared Firestone for Israel. 24-year-old in his 8th World Cup start. Raced here in 2022 to 29th place. That remains his World Cup best. He was 38th last week in Winterberg and skidding off kink 1. And hits off kink 2 as well. Keep saying how flat it is here. It's barely an incline at all. So easy to give away any speed that you have from the start. And the less experience you have overall, the less experience you have at this track, the harder it is to keep your momentum. 30th at the start.
Israel.
30th on the splits at the moment. Tiniest little taps there, going on to Devil's Dyke. And then from Tree, still in 30th. Leap, bridge, and the Gunter Sachs curve. Oh, just avoids the wall. 30th best speed. Ahead of Kyle Murray of Canada. 31, just behind Murray. Just behind Josip Brusic. In fact, he's tied with Josip Brusic of Canada. 109.99.
Seconds.
Long drifting skid, and that's the problem with the high speeds on this track. Very easy for the sled just to gradually creep away underneath you.
Hey Mom, hey Dad, hey Mary, see you tomorrow.
Hey Meg. So, Matt Weston the leader, but all eyes on 25th place Nick Tucker of the USA, because former US, now Malaysian slider Jonathan Yaw is next up. 6th World Cup for him, raced here in a World Championships 2023 to finish in 32nd place in an equally busy field. 3 World Cup starts this season, 30th and 31st in Pyeongchang, 35th last week in Winterberg. And the start was decent, 5:07, 25th in the field. Speed drifting away immediately, out to 28th place. And at the moment on the bubble, Nick Tucker of the USA. Great Britain's Jacob Salisbury is 24th, Tucker 25th. It's not a bad looking run, is it, from Jonathan Yaw? Pretty inexperienced, just here in the World Championships. But it's a decent looking run from the Malaysian slider. Can he crack the top 30? Will he be ahead of Israel's Jared Firestone? He is ahead of Firestone. He is also ahead of Josip Brusic. So 31st place for Jonathan Yaw, 109.92. 700ths ahead of Brusic and Firestone. And at the moment, 31st for Jonathan Yaw. He's World Championship outing here in 2023 was 32nd.
God bless you guys.
Enjoying his life here. Now then, second World Cup race for Yin Cheng of Korea. World Cup debut last week in Winterberg. Debut in St. Moritz today. Where's teammate Kim Ji-soo, 7th at the moment. Well, Yo with a 4.95 start. So 18th best, keeping that speed alive. Nice quiet run down. Through Snake. A little late off Snake. Clean enough out of Sunny. Into Nash and Dixon. Hovering around the bottom of the top 20. Nicely out into Telephone and Shamrock. Smoothly onto Devil's Dyke. Yin Cheng having a nice looking run here. 18th at the start, still in the race at the moment. Ooh, with a little tap into Gunter Sachs, and that is going to knock him out. It's him or Nick Tucker of the USA. And it's Tucker who stays in. 109.19. Well, he finished 29th last week in Winterberg in a field of 39. He's currently 28th in a field of 40. And there are 3 to go. At least 1, if not 2, and possibly 3 might well be ahead of him. But we'll wait and see.
No.
There's Yo. 3 to go. Look at Wyatt of France. The 27-year-old, 15th at World Cup start, finished 28th in the World Championships, 31st in the World Cup in 2022. Didn't do the World Cup here last year, but has raced in the Junior Worlds here in 21, raced in Intercontinental Cup and Europe Cup here as well, so he's got the knowledge. 5 dead. We saw French bobsleigh coach Max Robert watching from the balcony. 23rd at the start. He's going to have to drive himself further up the top 20, but we know he can do that. Ooh, long skid out of Sunny down to Nash and Dixon. Sled getting a little sideways, good height in Horseshoe. Up to 18th, up to 17th, top 20 speed. First time we've seen that in a few sleds. Really nice looking run from Luca de Faye. His season so far, 19th in Altenburg, 18th in Sigulda, a career high 11th place last week in Winterberg. Is he going to be 14th, 13th at the line? 15th it is, 108.36. Good first heat. He's in the race, and out has gone Nick Tucker of the USA. Great Britain's Jacob Salisbury now in 25th place. Teetering on the edge, and 2 to go. Look at the head incline there, steering it away, all the way, just steering that parabola away from the woodwork. Late apex, drives it, and look, straightens the head now, drives it down into Telephone. Not bad, you're right, not bad. 2 to go. Peter Macready's of Australia next up. 6th World Cup start for him. Made his debut in Park City back in December 2022. That remains his World Cup best in 19th place. Has not raced here before. Not a bad exit off Kink 1. 2 Aussies in the field. Nick Timmins currently in 30th place. And on the splits, roughly, that's where Peter Macready's is as well. 28th and 27th in Pyeongchang. 33rd last weekend in the field in Winterberg. Nice line, good height in horseshoe, lands it beautifully into telephone and shamrock, and there's where you start to feel the acceleration. And the eyes come out even further on stalks. The head does not like being exposed and out in front of everything else. With your hands tucked right behind you, it does weird things to your brain. It really speeds everything up. 30th place on the split. Is he going to be 30th at the line? No, 36th at the bottom. 1:10.19. So Peter Macready's ahead of Poland's Władysław Poliwak, Ghana's Akwazi Frimpong, and Brazil's Eduardo Strapasson. So in the top half dozen at the moment, you've got Canada, Israel, Australia, Poland, Ghana and Brazil. Is that enough national variety for you? Okay, no second heat for either of our Aussies. The final sled is Colin Freeling of Belgium. 25th place here last year. World Cup best, 25th place in Beijing last season. Raced here in the Junior Worlds in 2021. He was 29th in the World Championships for Belgium in 23. And then 25th here last year. 5:18 the getaway, the same as we just saw for Peter Macready's. But he's got more knowledge of the track. Season best, 23rd place last week in Winterberg. Starting to get things heading in the right direction. Is he going to be able to make the race though? 38th at the start, 36th at the second split, 33rd, now up to 30th. 22nd best speed in the forest. Good speed from Colin Freeling. On his Bromley sled, 18th best speed for Colin Freeling. Can he drive himself into the race? This is going to be very close. 20th best speed, Martineau, Portago, in or out? Not in, 1:09.23. Does not get a second heat. He is in 30th place, ahead of Nick Timmings and Timon Drahanovsky, behind Yeo Chan-hyuk of Korea. There's Martin Stukors helping out at the bottom. No second heat today for Colin Freeling. Last off in a field of 40 would have been a really tough ask anywhere else. A little better ice conditions here than you would expect on any other track.
Ooh, I love this place. Thanks for watching.
Everybody loves this place. So a mammoth field of 40 sleds. Our World Cup points leader Matt Weston, the 2023 world champion in St. Moritz, leads after the first heat. And in an immensely tight field, he leads by 15 hundredths over last year's winner and the World Championship runner-up the year before, Amedeo Bagnis, with Christopher Grotheer, the four-time winner this season, in the bronze medal position, a further 100th back. And then look at that, big gap back to the battle for fourth, a tie between Lucas Nydegger and Austin Florian. Then Marcus Wyatt, Kim Ji-soo, Sammy Meyer, Mattia Gaspari, Axel Jung. It goes on down, so close. Jung tied with Yin Cheng, 10th of a second back. Keisinger and Lin, and then another 10th behind them. Chen Wenhao, Luca Defaye, and so on and so on. Jacob Salisbury clings on in 25th place. He does make the second heat. Nick Tucker and the other 14 outside the top 25 will have to watch the second run from, well, probably from the gallery above the start area with a hot chocolate or maybe even a glühwein in hand. Get yourself suitably sorted for the second heat as well. That is up at 13:45 local, 12:45 GMT, and that is in 20 minutes from now. Till then, it's goodbye from St. Moritz.